In the heat of battle, heroes emerge from the most unexpected places. This is the story of a man who was just a communications guy, a radio man, until his actions on one fateful day earned him a legendary call sign, Shadow 4. It was the Vietnam War, and a small American reconnaissance team, call sign Shadow 3, found themselves in a desperate situation. They were deep in enemy territory, outnumbered, and taking heavy fire. Their leader, a seasoned Special Forces sergeant, was gravely wounded, and their radio man was killed. The link to salvation, their only way to call for help, was gone. Panic began to set in. They were isolated, bleeding, and facing certain annihilation. Back at the command post, miles away from the chaos, a young specialist named Alan C. Mack was manning the radio. His job was simple: relay messages, coordinate logistics, and stay out of the way of the operators. He was a support guy, not a frontline warrior. He listened intently as the battle unfolded, the crackle of gunfire and desperate shouts painting a grim picture over the airwaves. He heard the call that Shadow 3's radio man was down, and a knot of dread tightened in his stomach. He knew what that meant. Without communication, there would be no extraction, no air support, no hope. But then, something incredible happened. A new voice, calm and steady, crackled through the speakers at the command post. It was a voice no one recognized. It wasn't coming from a trained radio man. This voice was directing airstrikes with chilling precision, calling out enemy positions, and coordinating the beleaguered team on the ground. The commanders were stunned. Who was this mystery man? Where did he come from? He was using non-standard, improvised language, but his meaning was crystal clear, and his instructions were saving lives. That voice belonged to Sergeant First Class Robert L. Howard, the leader of Shadow 3, despite being severely wounded, with shrapnel tearing through his body and his own men believing he was on the verge of death. He had crawled to the radio. Ignoring his own agony, he picked up the handset and became his team's lifeline. He knew the standard radio procedures were compromised. The enemy was likely listening, so he created his own code on the fly, a language only another soldier would understand. Back at the command post, Specialist Mack was the one on the other end of the line. While others were confused by the strange terminology, Mack understood. He deciphered Howard's improvised code, translating his desperate, brilliant battlefield poetry into concrete coordinates and commands for the pilots circling overhead. He became Howard's voice to the sky for hours. This unlikely duo worked in perfect sync. Howard, on the ground, fighting for his life, and Mack, in the rear, fighting for Howard's. The commander of the operation, a general, listened in awe. He heard Howard's calm, authoritative voice directing the chaos, and he heard Mack's unwavering translation. He turned to his staff and asked, "Who is that on the radio? Who is this man leading those troops?" An aide replied, "Sir, that's Shadow 3, the team leader. He's wounded, but he's directing the fight." The general then asked, "And who is he talking to? Who is that on our end?" The aide checked the roster. "That's Specialist Mack, sir. He's just a communications guy." The general watched as Mack flawlessly relayed Howard's every word. He saw how Mack anticipated the needs of the pilots and the men on the ground, filling in the gaps, ensuring every message was understood. He wasn't just relaying. He was actively participating in the battle, a crucial link in the chain of survival. Through their combined efforts, the tide began to turn. The airstrikes, guided by Howard and Mack, were devastatingly effective, scattering the enemy forces and creating a window for extraction. The rescue helicopters were able to find a landing zone and pull the battered team out of the jungle. Shadow 3 was saved, thanks to the unbelievable courage of their wounded leader and the quick thinking of a young radio man. When the dust settled, Sergeant First Class Robert L. Howard would be recommended for the Medal of Honor for his actions the day an award he would receive. He would go on to become one of the most decorated soldiers in American history. But the story doesn't end there. The general, so impressed by Specialist Mack's performance under pressure, walked into the communications bunker. He found the young specialist still buzzing with adrenaline. The general looked at him and said, "Son, you're not just a communications guy anymore." He then got on the command network. His voice boomed across the airwaves for all to hear. From this day forward, Specialist Mac will be known by the call sign Shadow 4. It was an unprecedented honor, a call sign from a legendary recon team, bestowed upon a support soldier by a general in recognition of his extraordinary performance. Alan C. Mack had stepped up. When it mattered most, he had become more than his job description. He had become a part of the legend. He proved that courage isn't limited to the front lines. It can be found in a quiet voice, in a steady hand, in the refusal to let your brothers fall. Even when you're miles away, he was Shadow 4, the voice in the ether, the calm in the storm. Thank you for watching. This story is a powerful reminder that heroes can be found everywhere, and that sometimes the most important weapon in a battle is a clear, steady voice. If you found this story as inspiring as we did, please hit the like button, subscribe for more incredible true stories, and share this video. Until next time.